Hello guys, this is Top, and this is the second of my build guide videos on this sword-wielding, trap-abusing thief. If you want to know the basics on the weapon and utility skills I'm using here, click on the annotation to the side to head over to that video and watch it first. If you got a good handle on sword-based thieves, then you're in the right place, so let's get started. Here I'm engaging in combat with a bunch of blue team members that are attacking the graveyard. I sort of underestimated how many there were when I engaged, so I started taking heavy focus fire. I try to dodge away, but this enemy thief's Basilisk Venom holds me still. And I go ahead and I'm able to use my black powder ability to make the smoke fields, which will blind all of the enemies that are near me. Withdrawal also lets me get out of any movement appearing effects that are on me and pulls me right out of there, and I immediately drop a tripwire, which the thief hilariously just steel teleports right onto. Now I continue to run away and dodge around to try and avoid damage, but they get me low enough that my stealth kicks in due to the automatic blinding powder that comes from my trait. And since I'm backing out here and I don't feel like I'm in that much danger because I got stealth so they target drop me, I try to drop a poison trap to hold its elementalist still so I can burst on him, since my allies are around here, but for some reason it doesn't actually do anything to him. So at this point, we start to damage them, and I start to try to pick on this warrior, but this Venom Thief comes out of nowhere and starts attacking me. Now this is a cool part of the sword. Normally, since thieves don't really have that much for condition removal, I would be screwed, right? I'm getting low on health and I have this annoying poison on me. But since I have so much initiative in this build, I'm able to use a couple quick Shadow Return and Infiltrator Strike combos to clear it off, and it also confuses this thief and then end up coming after me. Now not only that, but if I already put down my Infiltrator Strike so I can Shadow Return, that'll also stun break. So I have a no cooldown, 2 initiative cost stun break. 4 if you want to count the initial strike, but I have so much initiative in this build, it's not even that bad at all. Moving on, in this clip I jump into the battle at the graveyard, and since someone already immobilized this Mesmer, I just go ahead and I do my burst on her with Pistol Whip. And Pistol Whip can be pretty hard to use since it roots you, so people will usually just move out of the way, but since it has pretty decent AoE in situations like this, it's really nice. Now note that since something put the weakness condition on me, this build is really susceptible to it, since it has such a low crit. So my damage is reduced pretty significantly by the weakness. But that said, I have enough initiative that I can still put out pretty decent numbers in this kind of situation. At this point I'm focusing on the thief now that the Mesmer has already gone down, but this thief is also running a pretty slippery build with the short bow and points in acrobatics. Now look at how effective the sword is at keeping me up right next to him though. Between Infiltrator Strike and Steel, I'm able to keep up with him, and I'm being a lot more initiative efficient than he is with the Infiltrator Arrow ability. I'm using 2 initiative to get to him, whereas he's using 6 to get away. This is especially effective since at this point he doubles back. So since I did my initial Infiltrator Strike all the way over here, I'm able to return right next to him, and then I can use another Infiltrator Strike to catch up to him again. Now one trick that I encourage you to use that I unfortunately kept forgetting about is to switch to your Sword and Dagger and use the Cloak and Dagger right before you do the Stomp, because people will have a much harder time interrupting your Stomp if you're stealthed. Now personally, I love playing this build as a sort of skirmisher. I'm dancing around in combat with all my dodges and dropping traps right in front of the enemy in order to catch them. And you can do a lot of great combos like using a tripwire into a pistol whip, because the tripwire is a pretty long knockdown compared to like the quarter-second pistol whip stun, and that'll guarantee that you get most of the damage off before they can get it away. And of course Scorpion Wire is a great utility too, since there aren't too many range pulls in the game, especially on such a short cooldown. Still, you've got to be pretty wary when you're using traps because they're pretty easily nullified. Anyone that dodges through a trap will just cause it to do nothing, but it's not even just dodging, any sort of evasion will do it. Don't even bother trying to use it against another sword dagger thief. Flanking strikes movement will just get them moving all over the place and just waste any traps that are nearby. Also, don't expect more than one person to ever get hit by a trap unless you're laying it down right underneath them. Look at how close these two are as they're chasing me, and yet it only trips up the elementalist. Also, when you're laying down these traps, be careful about which way your character is facing. Here I'm trying to revive this ally and I want to drop a tripwire trap, but apparently my character is actually facing to the side even though it sort of looks like he's facing forward. And keep in mind that, unlike in other games, in Guild Wars 2 you can't actually turn your character around in place using the right mouse button. You actually have to be moving in order to turn, which I guess is part of why you can't turn when you're immobilized. But anyway, I actually rebound my back pedal button so that I can slightly adjust my facing without moving around significantly. Traps also just regularly fail. I guess they're sort of buggy, and sometimes it doesn't even seem like there's any reason for them to fail. In this clip, I'm running away from several enemies, and I try to drop a trap, but both this elementalist and this warrior seem to be running through it, and it just disappears. It doesn't affect them at all. And you can see that this warrior, it's not like he has stability or something, so it's not like it's that. And it's not even just players either. Here you see me trying to kite Svani around, and I try to lay a needle trap, but he just doesn't care, and he just keeps moving down after me. That all said, I mean, it gets me frustrated for sure, but I still love this build. When you get a clutch trap off, it feels great, and it's just hilarious seeing your enemy face plant like this. Thanks as always for watching the video. Be sure to go ahead and check out the companion video for this, which has more detailed information on the basics about the weapon skills and how this build generally fights. Also, let me know what you think about the split video idea. I figure that since there's such a big variance in the player knowledge, that it'll help you guys by letting you get to the content that's tailored for something a little closer to what your own skill level is. As always, I appreciate your support, so if you like this content, let me know and subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys soon.